Yep.
Okay. So officially now, warm welcome to all of you speakers and co-organizers of this really exciting year that started for the sake of this movement in March, really, when Yuri and I started talking about how to bring this into the public space, the conversations, and we started with some letters that we exchanged as a dialogue, started to publish them, and then that's how we came about now with the idea to actually start a conversation officially on the net, inviting people to participate and bringing on board many interesting speakers. But above all, this is something that has been in the air, this sort of search for something new, for a new narrative. And I think we tapped straight into this one. And just to make sure that we understand that things don't happen just overnight, I would like to really go right at the beginning, back to the roots. I'll share a screen with you and give just a quick information about how I see it. But then I will invite you, especially a few of my friends in the audience today, to share with us a little bit the year 2013 and where, at least for me, the whole thing started. So you can see here that the idea of some sort of new civilizational paradigm with me started to emerge in 2012, 2013, when I joined the crowd of International System Science Society. And today, for the time being, I see we have two of those incredible people with us, Alexander and Stefan. Then I try to get some of this energy and thinking, system thinking, through what I was doing through my company. However, really the big change started to happen when we started to run Inco movement, and I also joined Challenge Future. And Andrea Kudrin, who I'm hoping she will join us today here too, where all this mass participation started, and we started to sense that there are some new weak signals happening that could potentially take us to a completely new framework, mindset, consciousness, if we want. So, and then things started to really just mature at the back of my head, but a lot of things were happening around me, and all of you who I've met, you were doing incredible stories all over the world. When I came back to Ljubljana, it was just the beginning of the lockdown in March, and this simple picture that you see here just popped out of my mind at one point. I published it on the net, and the response was really interesting. So that's kind of prompted then that more models were drawn. We got, of course, a bit of design dimensioning as well, that because first pictures were way too engineering ones. And everything else is now the history. So what I'd like to now go back to is, as I mentioned before, I'd like to ask Alexander, and I'd like to ask really Stefan to share a little bit with us. And in between, meanwhile, Molly join us, Ladea join us. Hello, welcome. So Alexander, please unmute yourself and tell us a little bit, how do you feel now joining this crowd and seeing your picture on the LinkedIn, in the presentation, talking about the roots from 2012 and 2013? Please share some of your thoughts with us.
Well, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for including me and for being together in this process. So I'm grateful and honored to be part of this conversation and this dialogue. And yes, it's lovely to go back to a little bit to see some of the roots that you shared. this blossoming of these ideas, I think, is really part of what we were hoping for back in 2011, 2012, when we were planning for this conference. And then the kind of ways it has sprouted and gone in different directions. You know, this is the idea of planting seeds, right? And allowing them to emerge. But it's not just a passive activity, it's allowing and curating, cultivating them. And so I see that what we're doing right now is continuing with that narrative. And I'm very grateful to Violetta and Juri and everyone else who is now kind of consolidating again these initiatives. In 2012, 2013, with the 57th conference and meeting of the International Society for the System Sciences, we set this theme, systemic leverage points for emerging a global eco-civilization. And we were also looking at curating the conditions for a thrivable planet. That's kind of the main title, curating the conditions for a thrivable planet, beyond sustainable, thrivable, and then looking for the systemic leverage points for a global eco-civilization. That was the theme. And what came out of that also were two important things. Let me just share this and then I'll pass it on. For me, I learned at that conference that it's not only sufficient to be focusing on the systemic leverage points to be able to help find how to shift the dynamics of different sectors of society, of different relations with the environment, with each other. But it's also important to look at the systemic nurturance spaces. So creating those containers, those holding spaces that invite, evoke, that create safe conversation dynamics is equally important. And you kind of have those two components, the systemic leverage points as kind of upward causation, and the systemic nurturance spaces provide the kind of downward causation holding containers. So that's one thing. The other thing that came out for me was this initiative on creating a World Evolutionary Learning Tribe, a WELL tribe. I know that that was something that several of us were involved with for quite a while, and it started going in certain ways. We looked at local evolutionary learning tribes and then regional evolutionary learning tribes, which were tribes of those local tribes. And then when you put the regional evolutionary learning tribes together, you get a world evolutionary learning tribe, a Welt, you know, the Weltanschauung, the Welt tribe. We were thinking of that, the WELL as well. Yeah. And this, in a way, is a prefiguring or a foreshadowing of the kind of thing I feel that we're doing here and now. So I wanted to, again, say how grateful I am and how excited I am to be part of this ongoing narrative. Thank you.
Super, Alexander. Thank you. I think these 3 points are really essential to understand how an idea like that evolves. And as you said, you know, people were picking it up all over the world, and the density of awareness and consciousness have been rising. And this is just one of the fruits out of that density. So Stefan, how did you at that time feel about these moves, and have you expected that something like this will emerge in the future? Please unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation today. Very exciting, and it's very kind, and thank you all for being here. The first thing is very personal. When I saw the picture after all these years, I was like, gosh, have we been young?
Yes, indeed.
And also the ideas we had at that time were young in relation to what is happening now. So was I expecting at that time that indeed this consciousness, and also the at that time very small seeds or very small flowers would at one point in time not only be a garden, but then also meanwhile a full ecosystem which reaches beyond particular locations in the world. At that time it sounded like the most crazy idea ever. And I find this the most fascinating part of the journey, as I remember well. I mean, when we met as a group, we felt the first time appreciated by each other in the room, because in my personal story, when I was talking about these ideas in, let's say, general public, being invited to several occasions, I was looked at like, what is he talking about? Like, is this just a crazy, I don't know, maybe new age, or alternative vision? But meanwhile, it is, at least in Europe, but I know also from my work with the Sustainable Development Goals and their applications, worldwide, accepted, not only accepted, but appreciated vision of the next transformations of our global ecosystems. And so the dream you said, I think, Violet, that's not only a dream, it is meanwhile a reality. And still, of course, since the very early beginnings, I try to stay involved with many people and then their initiatives, and to strengthen each other, I think, is the most important thing still. As we are in a transformation or in a transition nowadays, but now we have more than we've ever dreamed of support by our environments.
It's Stefan, that's true. Things evolved a lot. And I just noticed that Irma has joined us too. Irma was part of the initial tribe as well. Irma, would you mind coming in and sharing your thoughts about this past and today and the future? How do you feel when so many things are manifesting that today, and we just only dare to talk, as Stefan said, in public about in 2013?
Yes, indeed. Hello, Stefan and Alexander as well. So lovely to see you all, Violeta. Indeed, we were the oddballs. And now we are, I don't know. I get inspired by how much there are voices, many voices, disconnected voices still, not coalesced still. And the only way that coalesce can happen is, like Alexander said, the holding spaces that's so important. But just last night, I was in a transformational media creation group, and there were a bunch of European people presenting like timelines changing over, and speaking as if from the future to us here in the past. And speaking of games and connectedness and ways of getting fast clarity, so that we can start becoming an ant colony, so that we can leave the crucial information very fast for each other, so we can all see the playing field, so we can all see where the ball is, and we can coordinate better, hear better. I think I've said it so many times this week in so many different groups. The most important thing now is really to listen deeply. So yes, a lot of development between then and now. A lot of disappointment for me between there and now, because it's not moving fast enough, in my opinion. And I see good people giving up or sagging out. And so we must watch out for that. It's not all sunshine and roses. But yes, so much deepening and widening, deepening in our ability to articulate, and of course widening in the amount of people that have seen, we knew that before COVID, the systemic failures were everywhere, but now it's really shown it to so many. And so with the veils pulled off, now we have to really show people the stepping stones of where to turn to, what internal, small and large institutional and organizational steering that is now needed.
Super. Thank you very much, Irma. I hope that even our vibes are contributing to more positive energy, and those that are almost giving up will come back and engage again and see that things are changing, and this Aquarius period is coming. I mean, I was just talking to some people at the beginning when we were waiting for this session, that things are actually, very excited all over the world, and something has to come through.
Yes,
and as soon as one will get through, everybody will gain. So that's what my take on it. So I'd like to know.
I want to say one last thing.
Yes, please.
The notion that all that has come before all of us in our individual lives has enarmored us, has prepared us for this time.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel that way too. I'd like to now just give the word to Molly, because she needs to leave on a business trip, but she dedicated few of her last minutes to us as well. And Molly, because I'd like to hear everybody, you are all of you who are here with us today, you're such a strong personalities. And I was wondering, once you joined this sort of discussions and movement, have you broadened your mind as well? Have you done anything that you would like to share with us that is sort of a consequence of what we try to create? Please, Molly.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And hi, everybody. What a remarkable group of people. I want to be so honored to be a part of the tribe, right? The social evolution. So I am not giving up, Irma. You can count me in. I really feel that having come into this circle and started to recognize that there are conversations that are happening. I live in the US, so there's a little bit of, I think sometimes distance amongst people in different continents, even though we are connected through technology, because just the wave and the energy of what's happening. What I'm so fascinated about is recognizing that there are a group of people from all over the world that can come together to speak to these energies. For me, a lot of what I recognize is going to be a part of my life's work. And in my culture, I come from Zimbabwe, we talk a lot about ancestorhood. What is it that we are doing during our time that will, kind of deem us rememberable or memorable to those coming after us? It's really continuing to lend a voice to the true African traditional knowledge that allows us to, tell the world what it means to be, connected. And that is the term hunu in my language. In the broader sense, in the broader Bantu languages, it's well known as Ubuntu. And I really am hoping that I can continue to move with energy and heart into having a sense of confidence in what it means to have an African perspective and embodied philosophy to become mainstream amongst so many other well-developed and progressive cultures around the world. Sometimes that is not something that's considered worthy to be brought forth. And I think Violetta mentioned it in one point that she has heard about this term, but from fellow Europeans and other people around the world. And yet, people like me have not had that platform to really stand forth and say, this is who we are, but this is who we are inviting the world into this new thinking and how we can shape it so that it is truly a unifying sense or into how we can truly be authentic, but excellent in our humanity. I don't know how much more time I have, but...
No, well, I was hoping you would also make announcement that we're working towards having Ubuntu year in 2021.
Indeed, yeah. So one of the things that I think, Alexander, you talked about this term thrivability, or being able to thrive. What I am hoping to bring to this year of Ubuntu to the world is recognizing that our systems can thrive and our communities can thrive, our families can thrive if we begin to inject these embodied practices that are actually coming from, a place that's typically at the bottom of the rung, which is, Africa. And what we're hoping for is to start questioning the why. Right. So, for example, why would any of you want to show up and have a conversation about understanding what it means to better connect to others? Right. You have read about it in eco books. You have read about it in sustainability. Perhaps in your own communities where you are, there are aspects of it. But why? Why would you be showing up? Why at such a time? I feel that this work is coming into its own only because we recognize that the why is what unifies us. While it is not well communicated, it is something that will emerge into something bigger and better than all of us, and perhaps actually help us to envision a new way of leadership, right? We are in many ways, we are all leaders. We are all value adders to all of the work that we do. But how can we bring that forth when we have the why, but also when we are incorporating this concept that's coming from this vibrant and remarkable spirited place in the world?
Super, thank you, Molly. Stay with us as long as you can, and then have a bon voyage wherever you need to go. And thank you very much for your very insightful, strong messages. And I really hope we all gonna find ourselves one way or the other with you, flying through the year of Ubuntu and learning more about Africa and what Africa can offer to the world. Thank you.
Yeah, what an honor.
So let me now move to all other participants, and maybe, I don't know, Carlo, where you are right now. Can you speak, or are you just boarding the train? If you can speak, I'd like to invite you. Otherwise, I will move on.
Maybe give me 5 minutes. I'm just on boarding the train.
Super. Okay, let's then move to India. Ramit, you've been with us for the last couple of sessions, and you were also our guest in one of them. How do you feel? What's going on around you in your world and in the ecosystem that you are inspiring?
Violetta, this is always such a refreshing conversation to have with all of you, and each of the two conversations I've attended, because at least in India, I think the biggest challenge that we have right now is a lack of conversations, right? As with most parts of the world, there are so many decisions being taken during COVID, because of COVID, even prior to that. So many decisions that governments are taking, corporations are taking, individuals, families, everyone is taking. And it just seems to me, and I hope this is not the case all over the world and it's exclusive to India, because frankly, then we're in a lot of trouble, is that people have started using COVID as a reason not to talk, because everyone feels we need to move faster now, right? And that for me is really, really scary, because in India, for a lot of decisions that are being taken, it's the blame's being put on COVID, right? Or saying that, oh, we can't talk, or we can't hold public conversations and so on and so forth, because guess what? There's COVID. But we still need to move on, because if we don't move on, then the economy doesn't grow. And if the economy doesn't grow, there's a spiral effect on each and every individual, right? Which for me, and as we've spoken about in the past as well, just makes it very scary, because it cuts down on the conversation. Whereas the real attempt all of us need to collectively make is increase the number of conversations, which is why every time I come and speak with all of you, as I said, I just get completely energized and charged, because I see so many of you, so many wonderful people. And I heard Molly earlier, Sonia's here as well right now. It's heartening that all of you are taking out this time as well, right? Because you don't have to. You don't, there's no gun on your head that you have to be a part of these conversations. Yet you're choosing to be a part of these conversations. You're choosing to spread these conversations in all the various different parts of the world where you are. And in any way, shape or form, I'm just happy being a part of it and doing whatever I can to get these conversations out there as well. So for me, that's the real part, Violetta. I know I haven't spoken about eco-civilization per se, but for me, as I've told you many, many times, it's this group that you have created. It has so much more value over and above anything else that we may end up actually talking about, because the real thrill is in the conversation itself. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Rami. Thank you very much. And let me go now to Australia. I know our friend Brett. What's the time in Australia right now, Brett?
It is 25 to 11.
Okay, so thank you for being with us. We had two conversations on health and eco-civilization together. We also cooperated then with Barbara and Margaret on a book chapter, which is now in the process of a peer review. But so how do you feel? Why did you come and join us today?
Well, I was invited for a start, and I'm very pleased to be invited. And I guess to follow up on the great experience of being able to present on eco-civilization and health, which is an issue which is close to my heart. And so it's a rare opportunity, because I'm talking to you from one of the most remote parts of the world, which is an advantage from COVID point of view, that we've managed to keep it out of Western Australia pretty well so far. But it also has disadvantages in that we're pretty cut off from what's happening around the world. So it's great to be part of a process which links up people all over the place with shared concerns. And it's certainly got me thinking more about this whole topic. And I've been in contact with a guy called Andrew Gaines, who lives in the Blue Mountains on the other side of the country, who's got this transition network and promoting kitchen conversations, as he calls it. And I'm not fully familiar with it, and I guess I've been a bit reluctant to get involved, but he happened to make contact just recently, and I thought it'd be good to share with him the fact that I've been part of the Eco-Civilization Network, and he was obviously very interested in that. Mm-hmm. So we had a meeting just the other day, and he's invited me to be part of his network, which meets every Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which unfortunately makes it 6 a.m. on Monday. So I've signed up to a 6 a.m. meeting every week. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. So it's just one example of what's being precipitated in my small part of the world.
Brett, would you be so kind and then come back to us and share some of the conclusions of those meetings with us?
I'm happy to do that, yes.
Super, because we already made an agreement with Ramit as well, because he's doing an interesting experiment with his students and his team. So when we start with the conversations next year, it would be great to have at each conversation one of you back and just share with the rest of the people how things are progressing on your parts of the world.
Mm.
Super.
Well, I think Andrew will be very pleased to be able to make communication with you. I got that feeling he's really quite excited to hear about this movement.
Super. Thank you. Thank you, Brett. Keep the connection going, okay?
Okay, will do.
Super, thank you. I also know that Sonia will have to leave a bit earlier, around 4, right? Because she has another assignment, and Alexandra will leave at 4 too. So, but stay with us as long as you can, because Alexander, even your comments are great here that you're putting in the comment line. So we'll miss you as soon as you leave. Sonia, what's happening with you? How do you see this critical thought and maybe new narrative emerging in the communities around you?
I see that a courage to say it loudly, that our system that we have developed through centuries is not working anymore for the people and for society. And saying this loudly, it opens up the opportunity to start to create another one. And here, the eco-civilization is, for me, the right path to start a discussion, a dialogue, what will be the future we want to co-create. And I see now really the courage and the will to co-create and pioneering together. This is wonderful, and being part of such a company that works with open heart also and open will, it is something that gives courage again. And this is a great circle, and gives also a confidence and trust that we will be able to create a better world for all of us.
Thank you, Sonia. And I see that Carlo is now ready. So Carlo, maybe you would like to come in and share your thoughts about this whole emerging tribe and maybe a new narrative, please.
Thank you, Carlita, and apologies if there is some background noise, and I'm into the tunnels here. But give me just a sign if you don't hear me.
We hear you well.
Good. I think, of course, I connected with this conversation just because, like many others, it's, you know, that there's a moment in your life that's something that is happening, and if you were blessed, like I think I was, with some new sensors, some new antenna that you can feel, that you can welcome, then conversation come to you. And this is how I've lived this relationship with you and this conversation. What has happened since last time we engaged that has broadened up my vision around this conversation is been my engagement with another global conversation called the Economy of Francesco. The Economy of Francesco has been a wonderful experience for me, mandated by Pope Francesco. I was in the organization of thousands of young economists from around the world that are eager to help shifting our economic paradigm and live a life based on the best of our human beings. And what has emerged there is what I sensed, like a forming intergenerational pact, something new that is absolutely possible. We talk about how the current system of Earth and economic system is proving to be broken. There's something else that I think is broken now, which is the way we think the cycle of power, decision making, and information that used to be like the adults have it all, and then you empower the youth little by little. You give them a piece, and then they grow, they deserve it. You give them another piece, and then another piece, and then until they become adult, and you can sit aside. That cycle is broken. We cannot think of moving into the new paradigm thinking still like this. what I've experienced in the economy of Francesco is if we put the youth in the center, because we're talking about their future. And unfortunately, we as adults have proven that for the first time, we are handing over a world in worse condition to them than the previous generation. At least we are acknowledging that. We need them, and they have a good sense of responsibility, and we as adults can take a new role in supporting. When you do that, the two generation, the three generation, the fourth generation, all of a sudden magically interact in new ways. I've seen grace, respect, excitement that in the old paradigm wasn't present. So I'm very hopeful for this, and I hope it will also help us in this conversation.
Super, thank you, Carlo. You gave us a strong push to continue and to continue to bring on board some exciting minds and thoughts. Thank you very much for all your support. Slaven, what do you think? You were at one of our first conversations, and we talked about financing, kind of interesting, the beginning of the flow, but still extremely important. And at that time, we were trying to break the usual concepts and frameworks of financing world. So how do you feel now, Slaven? Just unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself, Slaven. Slaven, unmute yourself, please.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. So let me start what Ramit says. This is very refreshing conversation, and I completely agree with that. Yeah. If I start from the bullets in your invitation letter and question what we learned, well, Violetta, I'm not sure that I know the answer. My roots are not from 2010, and my roots are, let's say, 3 years old. And at this point, I have to thanks to Yuri, who trusted me, invited me to join all of you, and I am really appreciate that. I'm really happy that I'm a member of this indeed international community. Mm. But despite the fact, Violetta, that I probably do not know to answer about my modest knowledge, but one thing for sure became obvious for me in this year. I have impression that after many years, I start working something important, start something with the purpose and the meaning. And when I say that, it's not just for me or my family. I mean meaning or purpose with the broader community. And I'm really happy about that. Yeah, this is something I really like to work. I mean, I work for a number of years in financial world, and sometimes I used to ask myself, what are the meaning of numbers I produce? And now I believe I obtained that purpose. Mm. Well, yes, I'm working in bank for others two, I mean, second and third biggest bank in Slovenia now merged. And the good thing, Violetta, is that the management board informed me that at the beginning of the next year, the team responsible for introduction of climate and other risks will be formed in the bank, and I will be member of that. Bravo. So this is really good. So till now, it was more or less Yuri invited me, and it was my personal, how to say, joy to work with all of you. But I think in coming months, it will be also professionally, I will be linked with these issues. You can imagine that there are many practical problems, questions you have to solve in order that banks start really supporting transition from, as Yuri said, linear to circular world, and other concept. And I would like to finish with the terminology. we are speaking about green, about circular, about sustainable. Potentially, it could be the problem, really. And I strongly believe that all these concepts are really mutually enabling. And we have to say that in advance, because I saw that in a bank when I approach rating professional, and he asked me, okay, we will now introduce climate. What about green? What about circular? But and you see what I want to say. I think we have, when we start introducing all these things, we will not do that separately for circular, separately for green. I think that all these things has to be connected and simultaneously introduced in my case, in financial world. I think for this type of conversation, I'm really happy. This is more than enough from my side. One more, many thanks for inviting me in this really wonderful community of international people all around the world.
You brought a very important topic forward, Slaven, this that we do need systemic approach, you know, and this is where systems come in. This is this broad shared agenda that we know how to fit everything then together and how we can connect things with each other, because green and climate and sustainability and circular, that is all trying to reach the same goal. But you're right, we need to make an effort to explain how these things fit together. And that's why we need system science, and we need system scientists to help us to keep this meta level alive. Thank you, Slaven, and I would love to also hear about the developments of your group, if you don't mind, to come at one of the future meetings and share with us how you're introducing this green agenda to the banking system. That would be very much interesting for everyone. So thanks.
I will be delighted, Violeta.
Lovely, thank you very much. And let me now move. I don't know if Massimo is with us, or do I just see the black screen on? Meta group is with us. Can you? Yes.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Luigi. Hi. I have. Hello everyone, and thanks Violeta for the invitation.
Yes. Okay. Super. Thank you. Because we cannot see you. We just see.
Yes. No. Is that I'm in the countryside, and I don't have a very good internet connection. So, but I could listen to your conversation so far, and you know, I've been following the activities around, as you know, circular economy and circular growth, especially with Yuri. I couldn't be active part of the Ecocivilisation talks, but I can only share, you know, with all of you my deep commitment to, you know, a future which I believe will see all of us thinking in a different way. And perhaps what I wanted to add to all what have been said is that I also look, you know, at the future, not so necessarily in the way that was mentioned before, that we are leaving to our, you know, next generation a world which is worse than the world we inherited. I believe that at the end of the First World War or the Second World War, you know, people would think the same. And maybe we are still, you know, thinking in that same type of mood. But I would like to share more of a positive message. I think that the world we are living to, who is coming next, is actually a better world than the one we have inherited, because it is much more conscious. Maybe it took us a long time. Maybe it took us 50 years, you know, to get to talk seriously about the matters that today are high on the agenda. But I think this is normal, you know, and it's a human behavior to react only when we see that things are not going very well. But I believe that the way has now started, and when I look at my children who are in their early 20s, I see them full of confidence. I see them very open to the world. I see them very connected with the rest of the world. I see them very worried and very appreciative of the potential of diversity, green, and I think if we keep up doing the good job that we are doing, and especially you are doing together with Yuri, I'm quite confident that we will leave a better world to our kids, and they will be able to take the relay and make it even better. That's what I feel to say, and thank you again for inviting me, and thanks especially to Yuri for his big effort in being such a dynamic force behind all this. We are working together with Yuri on future projects on the circular economy, so definitely this is something we will stay busy with for the foreseeable future.
Thank you very much, Luigi, and I hope you will be one of our guests in the forthcoming. We see.
Let me say hello, so that you can attach a face to a voice.
Yeah, super.
Okay.
I hope we'll see you as a guest in one of our forthcoming events.
Sure.
Thank you very much for connecting with us, our whole story.
Thank you.
Let me go now to Barbara. Barbara, you were also part of this health and eco-civilization exuberating discussions. So how do you feel now? What are your thoughts listening to all of this?
Yes, my portal to this conversation was medicine, and my own dreams to transcend the longing force dualisms between mind, body, environment, and subjective, objective, which are still continuing in the post-enlightenment era. And I could sense in this group of what the great word was, a holding space for camaraderie and inspiration and some serious work to be able to explore with colleagues shifts of focuses that could lead us forward, such as from things and data management, fix, prediction and control, towards human-centeredness or person-centeredness, towards allowing our human potential to be acknowledged and articulated. One of the definitions of a human being in medicine is, which is just barely coming alive in this profession, is that we are self-aware, meaning-seeking and purposeful relational beings. So that's a wonderful concept. We all know it's true, but it's so difficult to put it in science, into scientific articulations and exchanges. And so one of the concepts I would wish to come forward more is care. How do we give and receive care, not just in medicine, but in societies as a whole, which of course transcends the human and goes towards other beings and nature. So I'm deeply grateful for these conversations. I see them, I feel them as a part of diving closer to what really matters. And finally, we are having the courage and the holding space to be able to share this. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. This was a very powerful comment. And yes, indeed, we hope that the new physics will help us to actually put more strength to relationships and relationship-based models, that we will be able to show that is really all that matters. So I hope to live that day, and let's hope we will provoke some of that as well. We'll try our best, right, crowd? And I think, Ladea, I haven't seen you yet, but I see that you are on.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Hello. Hello to everyone. Yeah, I'm hiding a bit because I don't feel very well and I have several calls in a row. So trying to see all kinds of energy. Yeah, it's a pleasure listening to everything and particularly connecting all these dots, Violeta. When you started with this historical view, I remember the Inca times and then other times. And now when we are collaborating with Alexander and Stefan, and of course, Sonia is there, and with Yuri, we did certain things. So it's really a network here of those, yeah, it didn't emerge from nothing. So, and it is important to nourish that we know that we are connected somewhere with our different roles. So what I liked so far very much was that, and I'm curious about this Ubuntu year, definitely, because I think that now we need this sense of belonging. I don't know how you feel now with these screens and everything, but it is really so essential that you know that you are a part of a network, a part of a tribe who is sharing the same values. So I think it's of crucial importance to keep this and to nourish that very much. And then the second thing that was mentioned by Ramit about the dialogues. I think that what we are learning now, I don't know, this is my observation, to listen more carefully. Because over the screen, we cannot interrupt each other. So you have two choices, whether you listen or you do not listen. So this is the benefit of this, what I don't like otherwise, but I have learned that this is bringing something to that. And we hear more, and I'm always taking notes like today. So this is something what is bright side of this new reality and new conversations. And when we are at this new narrative, what I'm noticing as well is now from this global perspective and from my role in the European Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, I have noticed that now we are moving more and more towards the lifestyle. And this is the right touch point, because the change cannot happen if it does not happen on the personal level. And once I understand that circular and sustainable is cool, that is my choice, that it is not that I'm sacrificing, but that it brings joy, that it brings purpose to my life, then there is hope. So I see this shift, and this is a kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. And it is all connected with what I said previously. I will touch another point, finances. Yesterday, I enjoyed so much. We've got a conference with our colleagues from Chile, with their government and others. And probably those who are from financial sector know Sebastian Stichel. He is now the president of National Bank of Chile. Previously, he was the director of their development agency. And he's the guy who is really promoting circular economy. I asked them, oh, he knows everything. And he's dealing now with finances, but in a totally sustainable and circular way. And they said, yeah, probably he will run for the president. And I said, wow, that rings hope. If we have this kind of role models on the right positions. And here I'm encouraged as well, because we are still in this old paradigm where money counts. So once the financial institutions are entering, and today we've got another event, we think, where we were together with EBRD and discussing that, how they want to allocate money. So again, hope that also the money is following this solution. So this is in a nutshell how I feel and where I see the activities. And from my point of view, what is still lacking, and this is personal again, is right now when I don't feel very well and I have a little bit of fever and everything, I'm wondering how we can share responsibilities among us. You know, the group as we are, the tribe as we are, so that not I'm doing something what I repeat 10 times, or Violeta or Stefan. So really to agree on the joint agenda and then split tasks and responsibilities, because no one will lose nothing. We will all win at the end. And there is enough work to be done for everyone and enough recognition and everything. So my don't know how to say, suggestion or food for thought would be how to collect these values, goals in a very practical way and say, okay, in 2021, let's do it this way. So we don't need 20 events, maybe we need 2. We don't have to write so many articles, maybe less. So that is what I'm giving you.
Super, Ladeya. I hope you will stick with us because we have some announcements at the end of today's conversation, which you're going to be pleased about. We are starting with a new element of eco-civilization sort of ecosystem, which is eco-civilization in action. But I'm not going to tell more because I hope you will stick around and hear it by yourself. We still have Natasha. Natasha joined us in a discussion about communities and eco-civilization. Natasha, the word is yours.
Thank you, Violetta. And I was actually listening all of you, and it's really always inspiring time. And what I would like to say about eco-civilization, and first of all, thank to Yuri that he was inviting me, and it is very interesting that since 2013, you, Violetta, are working somehow on that way. So it was exactly the year when I started also with this new circle of my life and of the way of working. And actually, I have to say that Yuri and Ladeya, they were so much important people for me and for development of myself. So, and it is probably not for accident that we are on the same board again after all these years, and really doing the things further. And what is my impression? I am personally very much believing that one person can change a lot, and that if we are having enough strong dream that we can move a lot of people around us, and this is importance that you were giving the name of eco-civilization. And I was wondering years ago that seeing actually that this way of working, way of living is collapsing actually, and we can even thank to COVID. I mean, I am really sorry that many people are really deeply suffering of this, but it was no other way that the people are stopped and not running like flies, and that they can come back to themselves and to listen themselves and to see that what is the real life, and so that we cannot act the life that we have to have the real one. And that's what actually Sonia was saying, that this courage to say that the world, just what we were knowing since this year, it not existing anymore. I was even writing the introduction article before our conference, yearly conference, that really about that there are two kind of people today. That one part of the people is waiting that everything is getting over and that is coming back how it was, and the other part of the people of this world is really thinking that how to make the new quality, how to go on with deep understanding that the things are never coming back how they were till this year. So and I'm a part of this second part of the people. And what I would say that actually I was working all these years in communication on various types of communication, and even in September, before we met, I was decided to go on with university, and I was starting this Master of Philosophy, and I'm going on, and probably this Ecocivilisation will be a part of the things I will work, and this is important that really everybody of us are giving their own part of understanding the life, and when we are combining all of these fields, this is something really nice and inspiring, and I'm happy to be a part of this tribe. And how you said that if you are making this action plan, so I will write you down what is our possibility to give the better perspectives of eco-civilization. And also important to note that actually within this company I'm running, and also one NGO, that I'm getting actually 4 young persons who are interested in, so all of them are 18 years old. So we are getting a really interesting crew who will contribute to this eco-civilization. I think that we need young people also to be a part of that. So this is for now.
These are great news. I hope that we can help you, support you, and co-create together something new and exciting that will also inspire others. Thanks a lot. And Yuri was very carefully listening all of the comments. And Yuri, what did you hear?
Thank you, Violeta. A big hello from my side to everybody. I did pay attention to all of you. And it was really like, listening through this hour, it was really like, the prize at the end of the course. So many valuable thoughts, experiences shared. It's a privilege to recognize some commonalities among all of you. I mean, you have revealed how you measure your success, by people who you have inspired or with whom you can share, or that can be your role models, or that can be role models for all of us, or for many of us. The breakthroughs that you have noticed in your direct environments about the thinking. These and many more thoughts that you have shared, and the expectations for the years to come, the intergenerational context that you have emphasized, and much more. I believe that this is, and Violeta, I'm sure you will agree that this is a prize that we are getting, the two of us, for and all of us here. Because when we started this trip, this last trip, I mean, Violeta opened with the whole journey, but I'm now referring to the trip that we started sometime under the first lockdown. It was, I think, April or so, early April. I think that this is the prize that you are getting at the end of this trip, all of us. And I think this feeling of connectedness is something that certainly outweighs, at least to a good extent, that outweighs the loss that we are suffering due to the distancing that we are unavoidably committed to. And we can see, that being together like this on the screen, all continents connected, people from various backgrounds and from different geographies, from practicing different professions, have come together for some universal reasons. So no matter how much we feel distanced, I think we can also we should recognize this, what we have been building through this year. This is universal connectedness around some common thinking. And what is, I think, common for all of us here is, this thinking that we are perceiving. We all think, that going forward in the direction in which we feel we should go is something very rational, is something very fundamental from the values that we share, and it's so urgent and so appealing from all the emotions that we have. And this thinking we wanted somehow to articulate through this trip, and we have embraced the concept of eco-civilization. We said, yes, it is important to change. It is important to depart from where we are because our thinking says so, right? But it is very useful, very practical to understand two things from this trip. Now that we are, Carlo is on the train, but we are now, our common train is getting close to the station because the year is ending, and then we will buy a new ticket. And there are two things. First, it's very important to imagine the destination, not just, the will to depart from where we are, right? Because this thinking is pushing us away. We know that, we have to move on, but it's good to imagine the destination, and that we try to design it together, to create it together. I think this is a particular value. And the second aspect is it is a civilizational matter. It is not something, technical. It is not something cyclical. This is a civilizational matter, and this year has been so rough with us to demonstrate that there is no trade-off between economy and health. Really stupid. Whoever still thinks like that, really stupid. And that actually even the two other, not just the economy, but two other elements of sustainability have been brought together so closely. Environmental sustainability, or the value of resources, the importance of resources, territory, planet on one hand, and the social aspect. What else could be a more important indicator of humanity than health? But in order to get further, of course, and now that we will also speak about the next ticket we want to buy because we want to travel further, right? Because we are not there yet. I think we have also touched many things, and of course I was not surprised so much about the debates, circular economy, banking, and some of you referred to that. We understood how much the new technologies can help, and that they are coming there. So the readiness is there. We have means, we have levers to get there faster, and we know how much health matters now. We also have recognized the importance of communities and how these communities can build up to the global, to the planetary community, because if we want to get to such a civilization, we have to build this up from very many communities which are built around identities, but identities need to be recognized. So we have to recognize that just as much as hunger is an obstacle, or lack of other resources, it's also lack of education, or all possible injustices that stand in the way, that need to be tackled on this way. So it is a civilizational agenda, and I believe that we have been discussing, actually, from many aspects. We have been discussing this all this, and that we can recognize this as an important and shared conclusion. So in order to make a step further, I think we still have to recognize, that it's we the people who move things. Money matters, and many more things matter, but money, if you remember, there was a film, a Western, you know, from Sergio Leone. There was somebody dug for water in the middle of the desert, but sometimes somebody else has to bring the train there to make the change. And so it's up to us to decide where we are going to build the railway or not, and then monies and other resources, of course, will follow. So we are still challenged by the change, and I continue being challenged by how making change happen. Of course, change can be is a big word, and even disruptive change has to be the one with a positive sum. I believe this can lead us forward and can motivate us to buy the next ticket and travel to the next destination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yuri. I think this was very comprehensive, and it wrapped up the year 2020 and also show the path forward where we're going to look for new topics and new types of dialogues, which will hopefully move us even further. But let me go back to the basic agenda and also make sure that we do share with you some of the facts, because then maybe that will ignite you even more, because I am so pleasantly surprised with how much can be achieved in such a short time. So let me go straight into the Alexander. Before I continue, I've heard that you want to speak. Alexander?
I just wanted to say a brief comment that I think brings us more also into the frame of action conversations. And this is something that several people were talking about here. And the idea being, just queuing off of something, not only what Yuri was just talking about, but what Barbara had mentioned about how we are self-aware, meaning-creating and purpose-seeking beings. I'm going to share here in our chat just some possible fuzzy guiding principles that we might want to think about in terms of our action agenda, and just to say what they are. That all of these are kind of agreements that we would have, and it's a proposal. I'm not trying to impose anything, just to suggest that we have these fuzzy guiding. They're fuzzy because they are not well defined, and they shouldn't be overly well defined. They just provide a kind of orientation. That all our processes and outcomes are life affirming, meaning that they have care and empathy. That they are future creating, that we're not trying to look to the past to recapture a golden era or affirm the status quo, and that they are opportunity increasing for everyone, not just for those who are directly involved, that they create more opportunity to have more opportunity. This is the idea of interconnectedness and interdependence. So this kind of thing, maybe not these as the fuzzy guiding principles, but if we can start to develop this kind of a, it's not really a code, because that sounds, a code of conduct, it sounds too rigid, but something like this that can help us norm our engagements, norm our conversations, as Ramit was suggesting. I think this can lead to conversations for actions along the lines that Yuri was just mentioning. Thank you.
Super, Alexander, thank you. I'm saving all these comments, so we will share them with you along with the file and of course, with all our future plans. So let me now go back to the screen and just show you a couple of the exciting information that is showing when the time is right, how much it can be actually achieved. And I hope that this will just connect us even more and make sure that we can continue to evolve and continue to put forward the changes that we feel deep inside that will fulfill us and that they are worth of civilizational paradigm. So we started, as Yuri already mentioned, with the COVID crisis in Europe, and only in this short time we had 10 eco-civilization talks, We had 2 articles published about this, 1 book chapter written, 32 conferences where I got invited just to share the eco-civilization thoughts and visions, which was so inspiring, especially in the startup communities all over the world. And of course, we have created 2 web pages which are dedicated to eco-civilization. You have a YouTube channel, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, which we will show much more in details later. But this is the initial team for this year. And we are, as you will see at the end, expanding this team and sort of broadening the activities and bringing them down more towards the action items as well. But the point is that we really would like to connect as we're doing today and invite you to connect your communities, that people feel that they're not alone, that these are not just wild dreams that we have. And as Stefan said, you know, a couple of years ago, we didn't even dare to discuss the content of our team with the broader community. Today, we're standing up and we can speak openly about consciousness, about intuition, about the connectiveness, about the importance of every single individual in this big melting point of happenings. And more and more we do understand the butterfly effect, yeah, because of that. So this is for me so inspiring, and I hope to continue to engage with all of you in order to make it happen. So for the sake of the argument as well, Sebastian, who is our techie guy at the back, prepared some statistics, and he will quickly share them with you. Sebastian, are you ready? Please go ahead.
Yes, hello everybody.
Show us what was happening in numbers.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I apologize for not having a camera still throughout this pandemic. So I'm counting on getting one for Christmas this year. Secondly, I would like to thank you, all of our speakers this year's events that had the patience with me, and we established a nice digital conference each time, and I believe we improved the process throughout the year. So can you also see the presentation right now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, just a second. Okay, so as Violeta mentioned, we had 10 talks in total, pretty much 1 per month or even more. So we've been really constant with this, and it really shows that people recognize that and followed us and joined our talks. And I personally really enjoyed all the content that our speakers provided, and I was not alone. There were 166 unique live participants on Zoom that registered through our website, our forum, and they're coming from 32 countries. So I think this is a really nice number for 1 year's work, and really shows that the eco-civilization is spreading really fast, maybe as fast as the pandemic we are currently having, but with much better intention, of course. And I think that people are recognizing its message, and it's getting adopted worldwide really fast. Per average, there were 42 live participants with us at each event, and we significantly improved this number and boosted this number by streaming the debates on our social media like Facebook, and I think this is going to be practiced in the future as well. Another really encouraging number is the percent of returning participants. So a third of them viewed 2 or more webinars. So I think that, like I said, people really believe in this movement, and they fell in love with the idea, and they're constantly with us and spreading it with their friends. So let's take a look what we've left behind. More than 20 hours of recorded content that's available on our YouTube channel, the Circular Business Academy channel. and we already broke the 2,000 views mark. So I think this is a really nice number for something that's not just, you know, just entertainment, but actual like important content. We also managed to grow our follower base by more than 300. That includes YouTube, LinkedIn, and also newsletter subscribers. And on top of that, our followers also actively contribute to the story. So they're submitting the essays that we had asked them to, and we are posting them on CBA conversation page that you can also check through our website. So at the end, there's also some more statistical data that's, I have to say, firstly, these are people that will share the message, but they also have the background, business background. So it's interesting to see most of them are in business development, also education, which is really nice to know that they will maybe spread the message with their own followers. Mostly, of course, from small and medium enterprises, but also some from startups. So I hope that they will possibly develop a business with eco-civilization in mind. So yeah, that would be from everything from my side. Thank you for being with us.
Super. Thank you very much for this very valuable information. I think that just proves that the work that we're doing it's been inserted in the society at the right time. People are responding well to that. But let's also move on and go to the next. Sorry, just a second. No. Some lessons that we learned. I mean, there were many important lessons, but here I'm just trying to share with you few that actually stick out and they're a challenge for the future, especially the future of ownership, the societal focus and priorities, the ethical discourse, the new geopolitical rules, the concept of public health, question of identity, transformative power of globalization, the challenge of active learning, understanding, and engaging. All this is really coming through as a very important issue that needs to be further discussed, and hopefully we'll be able to address them in the forthcoming years. In this couple of months, we really learned a lot of new concepts, new models. Our speakers have shared with us their incredible experiences, and it's now this is shared. It's a part of a common knowledge. It's a part of a shared knowledge. It's out there, open in the communities, on the web, accessible to whoever is interested in something like that. And that, I think, is an incredible value as well, that we are not closing the knowledge and the wisdom that it's been developed over the centuries, over the years, over the last few months. But we are really not opening only our hearts, but we are opening our knowledge, and we are ready to share it. And that is one of the missions that I think this eco-civilization also has. But I'd like to here show, I'm not going to discuss in the details, but I got also inspired a lot by the comments that are shared with us on social media. And one of them, which is just happened recently, is this Kardashev scale, which it's so appropriate for what we're trying to do and helps us to understand the whole sort of planetary energy in a much better way. But we will discuss this later. And of course, our colleague who was so sorry he couldn't be with us, George Poor, Alexander and Stefan, you will remember all the long conversations, but he's pushing his concept of a cell tribe further and really being active, very committed. And I hope we will be able to bring him on board in one of the sessions as well. Briefly, I just like to bring attention also to the net activities. And here I would like to ask Pina Maya, who's taking care of it, to come on board and show us a little bit what's happening on social media.
Yes. Hello from my side as well. With some of you, I had already have pleasure to meet, with some not, but I'm sure that the time will come as well in the future. And just to let you know where can you find us. While the eco-civilization movement was growing, one of the obvious steps was to create a page where everything is gathered, where all the thoughts are written, all the projects listed, and where you can also find all the book materials that contributed to the movement. And if you maybe missed any of our talks, you can also find them there. But just like the movement is a growing project, so is our website. So if you have any suggestions or any thoughts on it, we will be really happy to hear from you, to really give it the experience that we want. But yeah, if you haven't been there yet, this is also an invitation to go there and have a look at it. It's really a place where everything and all the work that has been done so far is collected. On the other side, we also have social media. We're present on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and from today also on YouTube. We are trying to post there as much content as possible, trying to be well, to have the content there all the time, and to create a community and a place where we can be in contact as well, where you can share your thoughts with us, or where everyone can share their thoughts with us, and where we can be in contact with people from actually around the world. I think this is one of the beautiful things about social media. It gives us the power of instant communication with the world. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, what I wanted to say, just to kind of let you know all the places where you can find us, connect with us, and well, maybe share the word about eco-civilization with people you know. And regarding YouTube, you'll hear more about it in during this event, or well, conversation. But yeah, just launched today, so this is kind of a new or hot news from my side. And I think that's it. Thank you everyone for listening to me, and I really hope we will have an opportunity to get to know each other more in the future.
Thank you very much, Pina Maya. And that's quite a step forward. We are bringing fresh, new, young colleagues on board, and try to strengthen the communication on a day-to-day basis as well, especially with the events and thoughts and what's happening to you. So if you want the eco-civilization community to know about things that relate to eco-civilization, let us know. We'll republish, retweet, repost, but it would be great if you either hashtag or at least make a note that we know that you're publishing it, and then we will spread it further. But as Pina Maya already mentioned this, and I have mentioned it at the beginning, we're adding a new dimension to eco-civilization movement, which is eco-civilization in action. Many of the colleagues, especially some young friends from India, I have to admit, they said, well, I mean, you have to get more concrete. We would like to connect, but this is a bit too much for us. We need action. We're young. We want to be more active. So we decided to take up this challenge and really create a new stream, and brought a new, fresh member of our team on board. You see already her picture besides Pina Maya's picture on the screen, and it's really the Rajni Vohra, who comes from India, who joined us and said, I want to be part of this. What can I do? And it took us a month or two to formulate a new activity within the Ecocivilization ecosystem. And here it is, Ecocivilization in Action. And she picked circular economy as the key topic for her engagement with the global community. But who better than herself to tell us more about it? So Rajni, the word is yours, but also the screen. Please come on board and show us what you're going to do and how you want to excite us and bring us on board in action.
Okay, so Violeta, first of all, thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. In fact, it means a lot to me. And it is indeed an honor and privilege for me to be associated with this wonderful community, which is now a global community. And okay, I'm extremely excited to share the screen and the news. Violeta, can you allow me?
Yes, I'm out. You
okay.
can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'm extremely delighted and excited to be introducing this series of webinar on circular economy. And it would be an endeavor to make a transition from linear to circular, because we feel it is high time when we should be shifting from take, make, use, dispose, pollute attitude to rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle mode. So for that, we would be having a series of webinar on circular economy across the year 2021. And our first topic, circular economy, the need of the hour, which has been planned on 11 January 2021. It focuses on the fundamentals of circular economy and the basic concept, including 6 key elements of circular economy. Moving to our next webinar, which would be conducted on 12th February, which has the topic circular economy initiatives globally, which would be focused on implementation and application part. And our third webinar, which has been planned on 12th March 2021, it is all about recycling and waste management crisis across the globe and the world. So stay tuned for more updates. But before I leave this presentation, I have something more interesting to show you that we have. Yeah.
Usually, minerals or raw materials are extracted from the earth, used for production for some products, and then sold and then consumed by the end users of a good or service. And then the materials or the resources are thrown away and rarely recycled. So what I understand to be a circular economy is that instead of throwing away resources, once they've been consumed, to make the life cycle of a resource or a good not linear, but more circular, that then waste products or byproducts of other processes during production, but also final goods, once they have been used, that they can be recycled or reused in a different production process again, or at least recycled.
Circular economy can be described by using a line. At the beginning, the product is made, then it's used, and at the end, it usually gets thrown away. But in this case, we want to turn the line into a circle so that the product, instead of being thrown away, can get reused, remade, or maybe even shared. With recycling, we can prolong the existence of materials and products for as long as possible.
Well, actually for me, circular economy is when I gather every day my food waste, I put my sneakers, I walk down the street and I go to my neighbor's house where he has around 20-25 chickens. I feed them every day and in return, he gives me eggs. So I come home full of and I'm ready to make a great omelette.
So, to know everything about circular economy, join us on January 11th, 2021. Is that it?
I hope you liked it, you enjoyed it, and this video has been specifically designed for our first episode of that would be of webinar that would be on 11 January. And I hope I see you all on this webinar. So this is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajni. It's something fresh and new. This is how we would like to bring attention of the young, especially population, that which is wondering what is really circular economy. Many of them are actually already doing it, not being aware of it. So we try to bring this excitement, short videos, short conversations, and straight to the point actions on board. And we hope that through that we can excite even more, especially young population. So Rajni, I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Wish you real good success next year. And of course, the whole community is here to support you.
Surely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Violeta, for your trust and confidence in me. Looking forward to meet you all on the webinar. Yeah.
Super. Thank you again. So this will be a new sort of stream and a new place where we can connect, or maybe your students can connect, or your friends, your kids, and bring on board these exciting stories. It can be very short video, just send it to Rajni and she will then know when and how to use it in the future. Besides that, as you have already heard at the beginning, we together with Molly and some of friends from Zimbabwe and California, we are working on this year of Ubuntu, which will be in 2021, probably about 4 web seminars during the year, and hopefully COVID crisis will phase out and we will be able to make a big end of the year conference, which will bring people physically together and really experience this message from Africa, Ubuntu message in real. So things are moving on, and I hope that you get inspired as well, and you will come up with a new topic that you would like to support, that you would like to spread around the world and bring the communities together, and of course share this excitement of the future that we have ahead of us. Because as John Lennon said, if I dream by myself, I dream. If I dream with other people, I create. So that's something that I would like to see as well. So at this point, we are sort of coming to an end of today's session, but I would like to ask you who are staying with us all the way to the end about your reflection now at the end. How do you see the content that was provided and the content that we shared for the future meetings and events, and basically just your reflection of today's discussion? Whoever wants to start first? Maybe Jana, you haven't said anything today yet, even though you are a very valuable member of the team. Please go ahead. How do you feel?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and having this talk. I enjoyed it very much. It was interesting to learn about the roots of the eco-civilization. And this brought something totally different to the talk, actually, than I was used to until now, because when we focus on something, we really discuss this topic. And now it was just about, eco-civilization per se, and where we actually want to go with this, not regarding one topic, but in general, what our thoughts are. And it was really inspiring, I have to say, all the different aspects of what's moving and what's being done already. I'm glad I was a part of this talk today.
Thank you, Jana. And we also have a friend here who just recently joined us and wants to be more actively part of it. Meta, please go ahead. How did you feel? How do you feel? What are your thoughts?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me into this amazing group. First of all, it's really inspiring to finally find people with similar views, with similar questions, with similar issues around the globe. It feels like home to be able to honestly talk about these issues. And I think it was Irma that mentioned people losing hope, getting lost. And I must admit, there was a time in my life when I felt similar. It was overwhelming. And until you find people to discuss it in a way you here are discussing it, it's an open, safe space with positive attitude, with the attitude of finding solutions to certain problems. This creates the energy and will to have hope and to know and feel that things can change and that we are the ones that need to keep this conversation going. I think it was Ramit that mentioned that the conversation needs to happen, and it needs to happen a lot, and we need to keep it going. And I think this is the way forward and the way to involve people and to have an open conversation, not to be a closed group with a closed approach. So I'm feeling inspired, actually, and full of energy. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Meta. Thank you very much. Natasha, would you like to say the last word from your side?
Yes, I would like. Actually, my feeling is, and what I'm for years already, 20 years practicing this holistic approach to the life, and what I like the most that this community, this eco-civilization, is including by the mind, is including the heart as well, because we are also made of heart. So this is not the put a part of the life, of the business, of any idea, and this is I think very, very important. And that actually how I feel that the future and the more and more will be taken in consideration the people who are having the dreams, who are having their thoughts, and this we were overwhelmed with this practical life. I mean, I don't have anything against the practical life, but it's not the only way of our being on this world and our purpose. So it would be actually my wrap up of this topic.
Thank you very much, Natasha. And maybe Stefan, would you like to come in? Because I think you can relate to what Natasha says really well. But unmute yourself, please.
Of course. Well, I'm amazed. So we are not dreaming alone anymore. We are creating. This gathering today was a wonderful experience. Thank you all for sharing the space and time, although more time than space. But indeed, there was the word courage, and I'm looking now for the English word, which I actually wanted to add to it. It is encouragement. I think encouragement. So it was very encouraging, and it should be, and it will be in the future. From a personal inspiration or initial thoughts I have now is that we would like to connect many of the activities which are research based, but which are also very pragmatic and societal addressed and based many of our activities with you all, and would like to be part of this sharing community and encouraging community and each other strengthening community. So I'm looking forward to 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Barbara.
To add a tiny little bit in the mosaic of today's conversation is I would like to end with courageous, open-hearted creation of spaces for transformational learning and transformational action. It's my hope and my dream, and it doesn't feel that alone and that impossible anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Pinamaya, why did you get to this?
Well, I think that because I came kind of in the middle of this whole year, I haven't had the opportunity to meet with everyone who has participated in this project or, you know, in this series of Ecocivilisation talks. So it was really nice to finally see everyone and not just read their names. And I think that was really an important connection for me to be able to feel everyone a little bit closer. So that was a really nice nice bonus to today's talk. But yeah, it's also really interesting and really inspiring to hear everyone, and you really get the kind of the inspiration that each one of us can make a change. We just have to decide it, and whatever we are doing is making a change, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And if we know that, you know, the impact we do to the world is even greater because we're doing it with awareness. So I think that would be like my my thoughts on today's talk.
Thank you very much. And Rajni, what would you say at the end, listening to everything?
Well, Violeta, being an explorer of life and someone whose interests come from all dimensions of life, be it physical, metaphysical, or spiritual, I see eco-civilization is not a choice. Here we don't have choice. Here it is something which is mandatory. We have to follow that path if we want to survive on this earth with harmony with humanity. I don't see any other way. Seriously, I seriously don't see, and I don't say it is insurmountable. Of course, it is difficult and it is gradual, but it is not insurmountable, like Barbara also said it. So this is my take, but I'm very positive person, and I think I totally believe in this concept. At the end of the life, at the end of the day, it is human who would be stepping forward towards eco-civilization. We just need to start a sensitization, and that's what we have been doing.
Super. Thank you very much. Sebastian.
Yeah, I mean, I love the energy, and I think that's the most important thing at the end of the day. When people come together, they invest their energy, and something beautiful always comes out of that. So I think if we have good intentions, we lighted the match. Now we have to keep going. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And Ramit?
So I'll be leaving today with an idea, which Violeta, I'm happy for you to take up if you think that it's worth something. And it really came from what Meta ended up saying in terms of her feeling, having joined in towards the latter part of this entire year, is to have open houses once a month for people around the world, and our groups, people that we know, whoever they may be. Right? Because I think there are a lot of people out there in our world today who want these conversations, right? And we are privileged to have known you, for having brought us together, and for being on this platform, speaking to each one of ourselves. But there's so many others who can get so much more value about from these conversations. So I'm thinking, Violeta, and again, if you want to do it with Ecocivilisation, please feel free, is to host an open house every month where not only we come in, but we try and get others as well around us who can benefit from these conversations, and perhaps not have conversations about what we want to talk about or have our agenda set, but allow them to give us the agenda where they are telling us, you know, this is something that really matters to us. We don't have the answers. We're struggling with this, and have conversations with so many of us here. I think there's a lot of value we can add in people's lives, and an open house would be a fantastic way of doing that. So that's, I'm throwing the ball in your court, Violetta. So, amongst all the many things that you have to do.
Yeah, don't forget, I used to play basketball, so I would throw it. I love the idea, and I would love to pick it up and talk to you directly. Let's set up a Zoom meeting, and maybe, I mean, you inspired so many people in this circle. Maybe you could be the core of this open house discussions, and okay, so let's talk. Let's talk in the next few days. Super.
Absolutely.
That it's an excellent idea, because we need to get that feedback from the community back without us trying to frame it. And I like that idea a lot. Super. Well, Yuri, what shall I say at the end? Please, what's your take? I mean, how do you feel at the end of this journey? You are muted, Yuri. That's
Violetta, above all, many thanks to you for all this. You know, I feel there are very many things, but I really, what I've heard very loudly was this, you know, was this a little bit preoccupying remark about, you know, losing hope or feeling disconnected and the need for belonging on the other side. But still, you know, I believe this is strongly outweighed by the fact that in some way we are more connected than before, than maybe before this terrible experience of the pandemic. So it leaves us with the idea that we should take the best from the moment and build on. And you know, no matter how bad the situation could look like, we should not forget that it will be overcome. It's always been like this. I mean, there have been bad moments, but there will be there will be different moments where we will be able to accomplish more in other ways. But we have been doing a lot, so we have to praise this. We have to recognize that a lot has been done, and we should somehow treasure that and appreciate this experience of the past year for what we were given. And so you know, I would like to come back to this hope. You know, one way or another, every pandemic has finished. And then we still have an opportunity to demonstrate how much human lives mean. So we have to go on and continue seeking this balance that will be the best possible learning that we can take away from this terrible situation, and put the you know, the human in the center, because there's no. In all this, we now see every day. We can see it. There are no trade-offs. There's no, you know, health against economy. There's no, you know, one part of society against the other part of society. There's not one generation against the other generation. When we continue to recognizing this, because this has to be, of course, shared experience. This is a process. Then we can really come out of this very much better and stronger. Luigi said before, you know, like after every calamity, the first, the second war, or any other calamity that you can think of throughout our civilization, we have a very big moment, very big opportunity. So let's get ready for that. I think this is how we can view the year 2021. I wish you, thank you again, Violeta, and I wish you all, just to say this, because it's important to say it. Please enjoy the rest of the year. This is the moment when there's less light. So don't overdo it. It doesn't make sense to exaggerate right now. You know, praise yourselves and try to get ready, because with the new light, with the new spring, no matter how, you know, we will get all the new energy, and things that today look a little harder will be possible. Yes. And we have made so many more things possible already.
Yes, perfect. We have 1 more minute, actually not anymore, but I would like to finish with one more information, and that will bring everything together. We are planning to put a book together. I'm planning to do just to bring the history together and to explain the models and things like that. But there is another one that we're planning as a tribe, which we would like to bring all of you on board and give you a chance to share your thoughts, and hopefully we'll be able to pull that together next year and then publish it probably at the beginning of 2022. So think about it, think about your participation, and I hope this will be yet another step forward that will broaden the perspective of this fresh hope, new destination that we might all get in charge of. And don't forget, we have to challenge ourselves all the time. And if there is a better idea than eco-civilization, we need to see it, we need to acknowledge it, and move on with it. So, but until then, have a healthy, loving, fun holidays and a really great start of 2021. And keep dreaming and bring people on board that we can dream together and manifest our dreams. Because first is always a thought, and then is an action. And I have a big faith in life, in us, and in our common future. So thanks again for being with us, and all the best wherever you go.
Thank you, everyone.